Top 5 real haunted places you should never visit. I'm not one to scare easily. Ghost stories? They're just that, stories. But after this experience, I'll never laugh at them again. A year ago, a group of us decided to embark on a ghost hunting trip to visit some of the most notorious haunted places across the world. We were thrill seekers, always chasing the next adrenaline rush, and haunted sites seemed like the ultimate test of our nerves. What started as a fun, adventurous journey turned into a nightmare, a collection of terrifying memories I'll never forget. Let me tell you about the top 5 real haunted places we visited that you should never, ever step foot in. 1. The Island of Dolls, Mexico. Our first stop was the Island of Dolls, just south of Mexico City. Legend has it that a little girl drowned there decades ago, and the caretaker of the island, Don Julian Santana, began hanging dolls in the trees to appease her restless spirit. The moment we stepped onto that eerie island, the air seemed thick and oppressive. Hundreds of mutilated dolls hung from the trees, their hollow eyes following us as we walked through the jungle-like landscape. It wasn't long before things took a dark turn. As the sun set, the island felt alive with whispers. At first, it was faint, just the wind, we thought. But then, I swear, I saw one of the dolls move. Its head jerked ever so slightly, its blank eyes shifting toward me. A laugh, high-pitched and chilling, cut through the silence, and when we turned to leave, the path back to the boat seemed longer, as if the island was trapping us. We sprinted to the boat, hearts pounding, and never looked back. Whatever lives on that island, it didn't want us there. 2. Aokigahara Forest, Japan. Next on our list was Aokigahara, also known as the Suicide Forest, lying at the base of Mount Fuji. The forest is infamous for being the site where hundreds of people have ended their lives. Local legend says that the souls of those who died there still roam the woods, angry and lost. The moment we entered Aokigahara, a heavy silence engulfed us. There were no birds, no rustling leaves, just an oppressive stillness. We wandered deeper into the forest, our footsteps muffled by the dense foliage. Soon we started hearing footsteps behind us. When we stopped, the sounds stopped, but as we continued, so did they. Slow, deliberate, like someone was following us. At one point, we found a rope hanging from a tree. Nearby, an old tent was half buried in the undergrowth. We heard whispering, low, indistinct voices, and before we knew it, we were hopelessly lost. Our GPS wouldn't work, the forest confusing our every step. Panic set in, and we began to run, only to find ourselves back at the rope we had passed earlier. It was like the forest was playing tricks on us, determined to keep us there. It took hours to find our way out, and none of us spoke a word until we were safely back at the edge of the trees. That forest, it wants you to stay. 3. The Paris Catacombs, France. The Paris Catacombs, an underground maze lined with the bones of over 6 million people, was next on our list. The weight of history hung in the air as we descended into the narrow, damp tunnels. Skulls and femurs were stacked neatly, forming the walls around us, a silent reminder of the countless souls buried beneath Paris. As we ventured deeper, our flashlight beams danced across the walls, casting eerie shadows. The air grew colder, and every sound echoed off the bones, creating an unsettling atmosphere. We thought we were alone until we heard soft footsteps behind us, shuffling on the gravel floor. We turned, but there was no one. Moments later, one of our friends gasped. A figure, pale, gaunt, and draped in rags, stood at the edge of our light. Its hollow eyes locked with mine for a second before it melted into the darkness. We bolted, running through the winding tunnels, our breath ragged as the walls seemed to close in. The bones were watching us, their empty sockets filled with ancient malice. Whatever we saw that day in the catacombs was not human. We barely made it out, and I still hear those footsteps in my nightmares. 4. The Queen Mary, USA. The RMS Queen Mary, docked in Long Beach, California, is said to be one of the most haunted ships in the world. Once a luxurious ocean liner, it now serves as a hotel, where visitors often report ghostly encounters, especially in the ship's engine room and the pool area. We booked a night on board, hoping for a glimpse of the supernatural. At first, nothing unusual happened, but late into the night, we decided to explore the infamous pool area, where the spirits of drowned children are said to linger. The air was thick with humidity, the smell of chlorine still faint despite the empty pool. As we walked around the deck, we heard splashing. The pool was bone dry, yet the sound of water echoed in the room. Then laughter. Soft, childlike, but warped like a recording played in reverse, filled the air. When I glanced toward the deep end, a small, shadowy figure stood there, staring up at us with empty eyes. We froze in terror. The figure vanished, but the laughter continued. That night, none of us slept, haunted by the eerie sounds of splashing and the giggling that echoed through the walls of the ship. 5. Poveglia Island, Italy. Our final destination was Poveglia Island, off the coast of Venice. The island has a gruesome history, once serving as a quarantine station for plague victims, and later as an insane asylum where horrific experiments were conducted. It's said that the soil is composed of more ashes than earth, and the spirits of the tortured remain trapped there. We arrived at dusk, the sun casting an ominous glow over the crumbling hospital building. The atmosphere was heavy, oppressive, as if the island itself was alive with the souls of the dead. As night fell, strange sounds filled the air, moans, whispers, and cries of anguish that seemed to come from every direction. The moment we entered the asylum, a wave of dread washed over us. The temperature dropped and doors slammed shut on their own. Shadows moved in the corners of our vision, but when we turned to look, there was nothing there. My flashlight flickered, and in its dim light, I saw a figure standing at the end of the hall, a woman, her face twisted in agony, staring right at me. We ran, desperate to escape the suffocating presence that seemed to follow us out. Poveglia is cursed, and those who visit may never leave. At least not in one piece. I'm telling you now, from experience, these places are not for the faint of heart. If you dare to visit any of them, be prepared for what you may find, or worse, for what may follow you home. If stories like this send chills down your spine, don't forget to like and subscribe for more terrifying tales. You never know which haunted place we might uncover next.